how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with The Movie Castle, and today I'm really excited because we're going to be taking a look at an absolute classic film, and that is Beetlejuice from 1988, directed by Tim Burton and stars Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Geena Davis, and Alec Baldwin. This is a really cool movie. Like I said, an absolute classic in the world of horror comedy. In fact, even though it's been over 35 years, you still see whole Beetlejuice sections in Halloween stores. That's where I got the little "Here Lies Beetlejuice" tombstone from. Super, super cool. But this is a movie that I can always rewatch over and over again. It always pulls you in and you get all these cool, iconic pieces of set dressing and character designs and just lots of really fun moments. But it's not all just Tim Burton's style. The characters are all likable and easy to follow. You get two people, a couple, who recently died and have to figure out the world around them. And I really do like how the world has a sense of structure and rules, but it's also not 100% defined, so you do get a sense that anything can happen. They have the handbook for the recently deceased, and it reads so super technically that they know there are rules, but they have to kind of figure and puzzle through them, and you never know 100% what to expect. And that whole feeling of what happens after we die and trying to figure out and explore it. It starts there, it starts with just these two, and then the world gets a little bigger. You get Lydia, who is a goth outsider who contrasts with her parents, who are these New York City elitists, and when they come in, they start to redesign and take over and change this old house. And the ghosts have to figure out what to do, and that leads them into exploring more, meeting Beetlejuice, going to the social service for the dead, and going into that whole ghost world there. And then you get a whole bunch of Tim Burton's designs slowly getting bigger and bigger and taking over the movie. The world of the dead is like classic German expressionism. All the characters have such cool designs, like Beetlejuice with his green hair and black and white striped suit. And really, with that sense that anything can happen, you do get some cool moments. Beetlejuice living in their little model of the town, you going outside of the house's boundaries, and somehow winding up on Jupiter where there are giant stop-motion sandworms. I really do like this movie, and I don't know if it gets enough credit for its structure. The way it builds out and gets bigger from a normal couple to realizing they're dead, to getting more and more antics to the point where the ending just goes absolutely nuts. It's really cool. Focusing on the characters, giving it a sense of heart, really grounds you and takes you on this crazy ride, and I think it is absolutely great. The plot is simple. We're dead and we want the living to leave our house. It's a simple plot with a big, well thought out and complex world, and it's something that you can rewatch it and notice little things like, oh wait, all these ghosts have a theming behind them. There's a lot of little moments, and I really do love this film, and I definitely can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, go check it out. It's one that's worth a watch, and of course, we do have the sequel coming out. Fingers crossed for that one. I really do hope it's good. But I guess in order to analyze this movie further, let's go ahead and dig a little deeper. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want to take a moment, break things down, and do a bit of analysis. So I won't ruin the ending, but let's dig in a little bit more. We open up with a really cool credit scene where the camera pans over the town, but somewhere along the way, you'll realize it's actually a model. It then goes to the house and pulls out, and you realize this is a model a guy's made in his attic of his whole town, and his wife's there, and they're really happy and loving and supportive. They go into town one day, and as they're coming back, they swerve to avoid a dog and accidentally go off this bridge. They wander back to their house, and they start to realize things are a little off. And I do like that. The model providing a sense that something's up. It's realistic but off kilter. And then when they come back to the house, it at first seems normal, and they start to realize slowly what's actually happened. They realize they don't remember how they got here, they can't see their reflection in the mirror, and then of course you get the bubble bursting when they try to leave the house and wind up in this surrealist Tim Burton landscape with giant sandworms and a warped perception of time. So at that point, they know something's up, and that's when they find the handbook for the recently deceased and realize the truth. They've passed away, and now they're ghost haunting this house. But of course, they don't quite know the rules, they don't quite understand things, and it's up to them to figure out what's going on and what their rules are. Well, of course, the house isn't going to stay vacant forever. A new family will buy it and move in, and you really do got to like these characters. The parents are kind of the antagonist of the film, but I like the way they handle them. They're rich New York City people, and the mom is an artist. She makes sculptures, and the dad just kind of wants to be left alone. But the mom has all these friends, and they want to redecorate the house. And in turn, the house itself starts to change and look modern. The people moving in have a good abstract way to represent them taking over the house, and that's with all this stuff changing. But of course we get Lydia, and she'll become aware of the ghost presence. The movie says that humans don't usually perceive ghosts because they'll see them and their mind will just go like, that doesn't make any sense, and they kind of ignore them unintentionally. But Lydia is into the dark, she's gothic, and in turn, when she sees the ghost, she's one of the few people that can accept them, and they form an unlikely friendship, with the two of them hanging out in the attic a lot and Lydia coming and visiting them. However, they do want to scare Lydia's parents away because they make it hard to enjoy their afterlife. They start to haunt them, and of course, things aren't going to go well. You know, they don't notice right away. They obviously can't see the two of them and are oblivious to when they try to haunt them. But when they do get those hints, they actually find it kind of intriguing. The mom has all these elitist friends, and they find the ghost fascinating. And then you get like the mom and her sculptures, and you think, okay, this is pretentious. But then you realize Tim Burton also made these sculptures, and you get the guy who's like redesigning their house who's like, you know, I actually know all about spiritualism, and you know, maybe some of what he says actually does turn out to be right. But rather than the haunting scaring them away, it kind of gets a magnifying glass focused on them, and that's where they get Beetlejuice. You literally advertising himself. You see, Beetlejuice is a bioexorcist, and basically, if ghosts find the living annoying, you hire Beetlejuice and he'll scare them right off, and all you have to do is say his name 3 times, the iconic rule, and that will summon him. Now, maybe that's the thing with this movie, is its rules. You know, Beetlejuice can't come unless he's summoned, yet somehow he gets the advertisements out, and somehow he's not allowed to be in the house, with the exception of he can haunt the model of the town. I don't know what that's about, but it really is cool to see the giant model when little Michael Keaton's running around in it. So maybe let's not question it, let's just have fun. There's gotta be some rules, but the manual is too long. Well, also seeking help, they do go to the social services for the dead, and you do get to see that wacky and crazy world, and you get to see this mix of insanity with bureaucracy, and how things can be jokey, but also how things can totally get messed up and screwed over. But their caseworker will say, wait a minute, you've heard about Beetlejuice, do not trust that guy. He's going to mess things up. And of course, that's their dilemma. They can't haunt the house effectively on their own, but they do know that unleashing Beetlejuice will be unleashing this storm. And I also really like it, and I think it's been said before, Beetlejuice isn't in this movie too terribly much. He's only in there, I think, 15 minutes or something like that, but every time he's on screen, he's iconic. I think they kind of save him, and then when they use him, they make sure to get the most out of him. He is a really big, over-the-top personality. It's really fun to watch, but I don't know if 90 minutes of him, he may come off as grating or something. But also, it allows the movie to focus on the proper characters, because the movie is about the deceased couple, even though it's called Beetlejuice. It's about this couple, and we have to understand the struggles from their point of view, and it is a lot of resisting temptation, trying to say that, yes, Beetlejuice is this crazy, big, over-the-top character, but we're not going to let him take over the movie. Keep the heart of the movie, the dead couple, the central piece, the main characters, and focus on them. Use Beetlejuice sparingly, but when he shows up, absolutely nail it out of the park. And overall, the movie does, like I say, build and get more extreme as it's going along, and it does go to this really, really fun, hyper-energetic finale. Overall, Beetlejuice is a movie that I love. If somehow you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is totally worth a watch, and it's definitely one of Tim Burton's best films. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.